Well, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us on this, the 10th day of December 2019. This is Ebru Primetime News. My name is Diana Rachel Mbugua.
That's right. Ebru Primetime News begins right now. Good evening and welcome aboard. My name is Kenneth. Kazungu, our sign language interpreter, is Joyce Wairimo. Now, as Governor Mike Sonko awaits ruling on his bail application on Wednesday, a constitutional crisis looms at the Nairobi City Hall should the court bar him from accessing his office. Now, the move has left lawyers scratching their heads after the Justice Mbugua ruling, given that the capital does not have a number 2. Some lawyers now say Nairobians are likely to go back to the polls once the term of the Speaker finalizes his 60 days in acting capacity as the governor. Our reporter Jeff Hyemba with more details on this story.
As Nairobi County Governor Mike Sonko waits for his bail application on Wednesday, a major crisis looms at City Hall. Should the Chief Magistrate Douglas Ogoti deny the governor access to his office? Should Ogoti bar Governor Mike Sonko from accessing the office, it means Nairobi County Assembly Speaker Beatrice Elachi will have to be sworn into the office as the acting governor for a period of 60 days, and thereafter Nairobi County shall plunge into a constitutional crisis.
The Speaker of the County Assembly is the next person in the pecking order. So she will be the one who will be now, who will be tasked to act as the county governor. But the only challenge that is there is that there are some things she cannot do. She cannot sign some certain things. She just has very limited powers, and that is going to place the county, the Nairobi County government, into serious crisis.
Westlands Member of Parliament Timothy Wanyonyi says a lacuna in law places the fate of the Nairobi City County in the balance, as the governor does not have a deputy, and it is not clear for how long Speaker Beatrice Elachi can legally run the show at City Hall.
If the Speaker can only act for 60 days, and if after 60 days the governor is still, the likelihood that he is barred from accessing the office, it means now the county can be plunged into a very serious crisis. But I have also seen that the county assembly have filed a motion in court trying to extend the time that the Speaker is likely to act.
Should the court not extend Elachi's 60 days tenure, President Uhuru Kenyatta will have to suspend the county government of Nairobi and set the ball rolling for a by-election, or Governor Mike Sonko will be forced to appoint a deputy governor who will have to be vetted and approved by the County Assembly of Nairobi.
The other last option, which is not very popular, is for the central government to take over, to dissolve the move to dissolve the county assembly, and then they took over the administration of Nairobi, and in the process call for a by-election, which I think also provides some new legal challenges. But as far as he's concerned, he's still the governor, but I don't know if he can now, in the situation where he is now, that he can now be in a position to appoint a county deputy.
According to the law, the office of the governor shall become vacant if the holder of the office dies, resigns in writing, ceases to be eligible to be elected, the governor under Article 180. Sonko's deputy Polycarp Igathe was elected alongside him in the year 2017, resigned barely 4 months later as their working relation became highly strained. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Hyemba.
Thank you, Jay, for that. A sad story now, and a somber mood has engulfed West Pokot County as a requiem mass was held for the at least 43 people who perished last week in the tragic mudslide. Now, the event was punctuated by calls to have residents move to safer grounds, even as Transport Minister James Macharia was put on the spot over the poor state of roads in the area.
It has been a fortnight of pain and anguish following the tragic mudslide in West Pokot County, which claimed the lives of at least 43. The deadly mudslides and floods that hit the John Lonyangapuo-led county exposed the country's poor disaster response coordination. With leaders who spoke at the Requiem Mass calling on residents to move to safer grounds.
Ile serious tu moja mbaya sana ni wapi ya Kennth. Ipo minister anaitwa Macharia. Yeye ni minister ya highway. Na imekatika mara mbili tu. Wiki jana nilikuta engineers wanafanya barabara na mabati. Ati itakuwa karabati. Tangu lini France sasa kusamea karabati na mabati? Ilienda usiku yote kabisa, nasikia ilionekana ya mwisho ndio kaka ikipita kaiko.
The heavy rains that continue pounding the country and more so the area continue wreaking havoc, with the county leadership now pointing an accusing finger at the national government over the poor state of infrastructure in the area.
Na sio tu kaunti yenu ya West Pokot. Majanga haya yako kaunti karibu 30 sasa kwa taifa letu. Ukienda kule kaskazini mwa Kenya tuko na majanga kama haya. Ukienda Ukambani tumekuwa kule eneo la Makueni walipoteza watu 13 kwa janga kama hili. Elgeyo Marakwet hapa walipoteza watu. Ukienda Pwani, Tana River, Taita Taveta walipoteza watu.
Devolution CS urged county governors to continue beefing up their disaster reserves as their first line of defense.
We want to encourage our governors waendelee to set aside enough resources. Tunataka kila county itenge pesa za kutosha kwa majanga kama haya. Iwe ni mafuriko, iwe ni landslide, ama iwe ni ukame. Sheria inawaruhusu kuweka 2%. Lakini wabunge wetu wako hapa, want to urge you as we seek to bring more resources to our counties. Vile tunaendelea kuongeza rasilimali kwa county zetu. Pia hiyo sheria ya 2% tuiangalie kama tunaweza ongeza ifike 5%, tuweke pesa ya kutosha kwa majanga kwa county zetu as our first line of defense.
When the catastrophe struck on the night of November 23rd, the two levels of government gave conflicting reports on the death toll. West Pokot Governor John Lonyangapuo put the death toll at 52, while the Ministry of Interior and Coordination pegged the number at 41. Winnie Lubembe for Ebru TV.
All right, staying with the wrath of Mother Nature now, and at least 150 homesteads have been swept away in Nyatike constituency, Migori County, as heavy floods continue to unsettle the people living in the lower parts of River Kuja, River Migori and Oyani following heavy rains that have been pounding the region.
The affected homes in the villages of Sagama, Angugo, Nyora and Kabuto Central were swept away by the deluge water from irrigation canals within the Lower Kuja irrigation scheme.
Mimi ni mkaaji wa Modi. Kilichofanyika hapa nadhani mnaona hata na nyinyi. Maji yamejaa, watoto wamepotea, hata tujui wako wapi, nyumba zimeharibika, pa kulala hatuna, pa kuishi hatuna.
Shida yenye tunayo, nyumba zetu zimeanguka chini. Yaani hatuna mahali pa kulala. Tunatembea tu.
Migori County Governor Okoth Obado and Migori County Assembly Speaker Boaz Okoth, while visiting the affected and displaced people in Nyatike, instructed all people living in the lower parts to move to higher grounds to avoid loss of life and properties.
It came so much, it has caused a lot of havoc, even in the farms. So generally, the farmers here have lost a lot of crops. That means we must have contingency measures to ensure that after the floods will have subsided, we give our farmers early maturing varieties so that they can stand on their own.
Accompanied by the County Commissioner Joseph Rotich, the leaders urged the national government to help and give the affected residents an alternative and safer grounds for living as they try to seek a permanent solution to the annual floods menace that have rocked the area in every rainy season.
Baada ya hiyo mafuriko, kuna wale wametolewa kwa manyumba yao kwa sababu maji imeingia kwa manyumba. Kuna sehemu barabara zimekatika, pia kuna sehemu ambazo mimea zimeharibika, na wengine wamepoteza hata mifugo na vyakula kwa manyumba.
They were speaking at Agenga Chief's camp in North Kadem, where 500 displaced persons are camping since the water uprooted and also marooned their homes. The leaders also donated foodstuff, beddings and drugs to the affected families that still need more help as the rains continue to pound the country. Busara Naman for Ebru TV.
Now, away from that, Kisumu County Speaker Onyango Olo has suffered a major blow after the Labour and Relations Court in Kisumu upheld his impeachment. Now, the fate of Kisumu County Speaker now lies in the hands of MCAs after the court gave a go-ahead to his removal from office. Olo's woes began in September 2019 when Director of Public Prosecutions Nuruddin Haji ordered for his arrest over alleged inflation of costs of the construction of a shopping mall dubbed the Lake Basin Development Authority in Kisumu. Ward representatives attempted to impeach him, but the besieged speaker moved to court to counter the attempt. He, however, suffered a major setback Tuesday when the court allowed MCAs to proceed with the impeachment motion. The Labour Court noted all the grounds upon which the ward representatives sought to impeach Olo were established and all procedures followed. Olo had in September gone to court under a certificate of urgency seeking his reinstatement. The County Assembly and the County Assembly Service Board were the respondents, while Acting Speaker Elisha Oraro and 2 others were listed as interested parties. The MCAs impeached Olo, citing an active corruption investigation at the Lake Basin Development Authority against him. Olo claimed that his replacement was a contravention of the provisions of Article 178, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution. Olo was also fighting to have all the benefits, allowances and privileges he enjoyed as the Speaker of the County Assembly reinstated. The court has, however, ordered Olo to surrender county property, including motor vehicles. In the court documents, he claims that he was not allowed to defend himself against allegations raised. Other charges the embattled speaker is facing include conspiracy to defraud, willful failure to comply with procurement laws, engaging in construction of a project without prior planning, and abuse of office, among others.
Right, back to the capital matters, where motorists parking their cars in the Nairobi Central Business District can now breathe a sigh of relief after the county government reverted its fees back to 200 shillings. They have been paying 400 since Wednesday last week, despite a court order that stopped the increase until a case filed by the Consumer Federation of Kenya, or COFEC, is heard and determined.
The move comes barely hours after COFEC threatened to file a contempt of court case against Nairobi County government after it defied a ruling to revert parking fees from 400 Kenya shillings to 200 Kenya shillings. However, City Hall Director of Parking Services, Tom Tenega, said the county had not been served with a court order and that it was only done this afternoon. The move to raise parking fees, which was effective December 4th, was met with uproar from matatu operators and the consumer lobby. The increase would have seen 14-seater matatus pay 5,000 shillings, up from 3,650. 32-seater buses pay 8,000 shillings, up from 5,250. And 41 and above seater buses pay 10,000 shillings from 7,250 they have been paying since 2014. Matatu owners threatened to resort to mass action, while COFEC sued City Hall on grounds that motorists were not given sufficient notice as required by the law. High Court Judge James Kamau directed that the case be heard on January 21st, 2020. For Ebru News, Musa Amir.
Now, a crisis still looms in the 47 devolved units as the newly appointed Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, has vowed to stick to Treasury's directive to withhold funds to counties that have outstanding pending bills. Now, county governments have been complaining they have not received their shareable revenues that was due on 15th last month.
It seems that the devolved unit's woes may never end after the new control of budget, Margaret Nyakango, who has barely been at the helm for 6 days now, has vowed to uphold the Treasury's directive in regards to 20 county governments that have not cleared their pending bills. Margaret maintains that counties that have shared their proposal with the Treasury on how they will clear their pending bills will receive their shareable revenue. This comes even as the Council of Governors has raised objections to the fresh attempt by the National Treasury to withhold funding for at least 20 more counties because they are yet to clear their pending bills. The Council's chairperson, Wycliffe Oparanya, now says the move to isolate some counties in the disbursement of funds from the Exchequer negates the spirit and letter of devolution, which connotes effective service delivery to its citizens. The fresh notice comes barely a week after both the National Assembly and the Senate rejected another request by Acting National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Kuriatani to an initial 15 counties, giving them until December 1st to clear their bills, failure to which the funds will be locked. According to Oparanya, the method used by the National Treasury to categorize county governments did not consider the efforts made to settle the pending bills and only concentrated on payment of pending bills between July 1st, 2019 and October 31st, 2019. This year alone, county pending bills stood at 108 billion, according to the Control of Budget. Abdiaziz Hashim, Ebru TV.
All right, moving on to other news making headlines tonight. And the Kenya Ferry Services now says it is improving safety and efficiency in the Likoni crossing channel in Mombasa County, just days after a second car plunged into the ocean, killing one. The body manning the Likoni crossing now says the move is due to the upsurge of users of the channel, especially during this festive season.
Addressing Likoni Ferry commuters during KFA's Customer Service Week and safety sensitization held at Likoni Island crossing channel, Mombasa Senator Mohamed Faki said any lack of proper services at the channel poses a danger to the commuters using the ferries. Faki also applauded the ongoing refurbishment work at the Kenya Ferry Services Terminal to improve essential services for commuters. He said all these measures were being instituted in order to prevent inordinate delays at the channel that is a lifeline route for mainland Sound residents and onward to Kwale County and neighboring Tanzania.
Na hatuwezi kuacha hichi kivuko tu hivi ikawa tukiangazia, kwa sababu kila tukiangazia ndio huduma zitaboreshwa kwa wananchi. Sisi pia kama viongozi tunavuka hapa mara kwa mara. Kwa hivyo ikiwa huduma si nzuri hapa, ina maana kwamba hata sisi kama viongozi tuko hatarini. Vile vile tumeona uboreshaji tayari umeanza hapa. Kuna ujenzi umeanza hapa. Nafikiri ujenzi ukikamilika, wananchi watakuwa wakivuka kwa salama zaidi na watakuwa hawapigwi na jua na mvua kama ilivyo sasa.
Kenya Ferry Services MD Bakari Goa said the largest marine vessel, Jambo, has been withdrawn for repairs and asked for patience from stakeholders, assuring that it will be back in operation soon.
Vile ni kitu muhimu sana. Sisi kama Kenya Ferry tumejitayarisha tukishirikiana na sehemu nyingine za kiserikali. Kama huduma tunajaribu kuziboresha, na ndio naona ile feri kubwa saizi haiko, tumeipeleka huko irekebishwe. Tunatarajia wiki ijayo ikianza hiyo feri tutaipata pamoja na hizi feri nyingine pia, ndio tuweze kupata huduma bora zaidi.
Senator Faki said December is a high season in Mombasa and many people come visit Mombasa for holidays, and KFS is prepared to handle the expected surge in ferry users.
Tunakwenda katika msimu wa Krismasi. Najua huduma za feri zitahitajika pakubwa. Kwa hivyo naomba shirika lihakikishe kwamba liko top 10. Yaani kila huduma wananchi wasiweze kuwekwa hapa kwa muda mrefu. Huduma ziwe nzuri zaidi, ziboreshwe ili tuone kwamba watu wetu hawateseki katika eneo hili la feri.
He said to handle the surge in passengers and motorists, KFS has reviewed its services timetable for the double-ended ferries that include MV Likoni, MV Kwale, MV Nyayo, MV Harambe and MV Kilindini.
Ongezea feri kulingana na vile tutaangalia hali za demand iko. Watu wakizidi tutakuwa tukiongezea feri, magari yakizidi tutakuwa tukiongezea feri. Tutaongezea pia hali za kiusalama hapa ili tuweze kuwa na more security kwa wananchi waweze kupata huduma bila changamoto.
The senator also donated 2 wheelchairs for use by elderly, the sick and the disabled people crossing the channel. The announced changes and efforts to improve the operations at the channel comes when the Kenya Ferry Services is being accused of laxity after 2 tragedies this year. Improving operations at the port will bring sanity.
Now moving on, the rumble in the Jubilee jungle is getting louder by the day, with seemingly cold relations between the president and his deputy remaining the thin ice holding the party. But if the going-ons over the last few days are anything to go by, the president could be in for more tough times, compounded by mountains of hurdles in his own backyard. Take a look.
March 9th, 2018 will go into the Jubilee Party's books of history as the day the establishment that took Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto to power for their second term took a different turn. And with it came the handshake, which marked the beginning of the seeming end of the giant party. What followed was the establishment of the Building Bridges Initiative Task Force, which split the party into 2 rival groups.
Hiyo Badilisha initiative hiyo hatutakubali, na tumetumwa na hawa watu wa Gatanga na wa Kiharo na kwingineko.
Dubbed Tanga and Kieleweke for the anti and pro-handshake camps respectively.
The handshake, it was God sent to this country. Handshake came through 2 of you, His Excellency the President and yourself. It was not like the other one that was imported. Other people came to bring people together.
And since then, the president has had hurdle after hurdle, taming a section of its MPs from his own Mount Kenya backyard, who have called out the president for supporting the enemy.
Mitaka kumwambia rais amezingirwa na manabii wa uongo. Amezingirwa na wachawi. Amezingirwa na wafarisai.
Fast forward to the unveiling of the BBI report.
Mimi nashangaa. Juzi tulizindua hii kitu inaitwa BBI,
which only created bridges of division which led to this moment.
Hata haikumaliza weekend tukasema watu wakasome. Sasa wajuaji wanazunguka kila pahali wakituambia ati vile tutafanya. Ne mafie na kou.
An angry President Kenyatta who lashed out at allies of his number 2 for politicizing the report.
Saa ingine wacha nisiseme. Unajua natoboa alafu wengine wanasema ati mimi nakasirika. Nakasirika nikiona ujinga na vile wanaongea, unashindwa kama wanaishi Kenya hii ama wanaishi dunia ingine.
And in an interesting twist, it is MPs from his Mount Kenya backyard who returned fire.
So, Mr. President, as we support you, as we supported you, as we are ready to vote for this BBI, enda nyumbani na mganga wako. Enda apumzike.
This time coming with a new narrative, calling for the retirement of the commander-in-chief.
Fanya hiyo nikukwambia ukweli, sababu wewe unastaafu. Maisha ya linturi ya kisiasa, mimi si staafu 2022. Yeye lazima ataenda nyumbani. 2022 ikifika no.
The president increasingly becoming an isolated man as at least 12 members of parliament on Sunday skipped his fundraiser in Kiambu County. On the flip side, however, most of Mount Kenya elected leaders chose to accompany Deputy President William Ruto at events in Makueni, Embu, and Nyeri counties. How the president navigates his new challenges and whether he will use the BBI report to plot the downfall of his enemies in his own backyard remains to be seen. All right, from those mountains of rebellion, we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we'll be telling you more about the probe, the murder probe of the fallen scribe. Stick around for that. Well,
welcome back to Ebru Primetime News. Now, two brothers linked to the murder of Star newspaper journalist Eric Olo will remain in police custody for 8 more days pending mental examination. Now, Victor Ogola Luta and Franklin Joel Luta were arrested November 21st and 22nd, respectively.
They both appeared before Siaya Principal Magistrates Court on November 25th, but did not take plea. Investigative detectives handling the matter requested for more time to probe the case. Siaya Principal Magistrate James Ongondo gave the Directorate of Criminal Investigations 11 days to complete their investigations. Eric Olo's body was found in the house of Ugunja Deputy OCS, Ms. Sabina Kerubo, on November the 21st.
Now, the mess surrounding the medical leasing equipment has gotten even murkier, with PKF Kenya, a consultancy firm, said that the ministry did not consult them despite having an agreement with the government.
Of course, the company has revealed that the Ministry of Health was halfway through the project when they sought advice in regards to the leasing of the medical project that cost the taxpayers billions of shillings.
The scandal surrounding the multi-billion medical leasing equipment scheme has taken a new twist after PKF Kenya, a consultancy firm, now said the Ministry of Health engaged them halfway through the project. However, the Ministry of Health maintained that they received advice from the company.
You are the people that advised government to go into this project.
We have seen even in the letter written to us, that is that we advised the government to get into MES. We were not consultants at that stage. We didn't advise the government to acquire equipment via MES. Our contract came when the decision was already made, and in fact, they were midway through the evaluation.
John Kabeberi, the Chief Executive Officer, maintained that their work was to advise the ministry on the pricing, but were not involved in the variation and notion that the committee could hear none of.
Yeah, you realize that even the prices of the goods which were recommended by PKF are very expensive. You know, just a trolley costing 280,000, and it is what about a maximum of 19,000.
Of all the documents you asked us to come with, we can bring, except two.
Which ones?
One, on the variation, we have no involvement at all on the variation.
The watchdog committee, led by Isiolo Senator Fatuma Dulo, has visited numerous hospitals around the country and maintained that the equipment are not the solution to the ailing health sector.
Number two, the money involved is 65 billion. It's not a small cash, yeah? And in some instances, Kenyans are not getting service delivery as a result of this project.
The project has gobbled up billions, with the senators seeking to unmask the faces behind the scheme. The committee directed the company to reappear before it again to respond to questions as to whether there was value for money in the medical leasing equipment scheme. Abdes Hashim, Ebru TV.
Right, staying on the health front, and the number of women accessing state-owned free maternity services is drastically reducing.
This is according to a new study on the impact of government-supported maternal health programs in the country.
The study, which focused on Nairobi, Migori and Kilifi counties, points that the program was mainly a political declaration that did not consider the incapacities in health facilities.
Speaking during the launch of the study, Professor Owor Olunga, the lead researcher, pointed out that the numbers were high in 2014 after the program was launched, but have been dropping due to poor quality of services. Professor Olunga said, in part, this was not matched with an increase in the number of health providers offering services, health commodities and general infrastructure. In the 2013-2014 financial year, the national government committed 3.8 billion shillings to fund the free maternal health care program, a move meant to cover 60% of women who delivered at home, resulting in 6,000 deaths of mothers annually. Among the major impediments highlighted in the report include lack of resources, lack of proper accountability, and stakeholder involvement. The report further states that some health facilities are offering services without the promised reimbursements, revealing that the amount of money being reimbursed to health facilities for maternal health services is inadequate to provide quality services. This, according to the report, has forced mothers to buy supplies like gloves, cotton wool, and spirit to be used for delivery. Professor Olunga maintains the costing of services such as cesarean section should be reviewed to reflect the actual cost of providing such services. A normal delivery should cost about 16,000 shillings, while cesarean section should cost about 30,000 shillings, depending on the level of complications. Though it does not capture statistics, the study says there was an increase in maternal deaths following the implementation of Free Maternity Initiative. The report comes at a time the provision of maternity health care services has been greatly compromised by the frequent healthcare workers' strikes and calls on stakeholders in the health sector to prioritize the resolution of the grievances of the healthcare workers to avoid numerous industrial actions. Winnie Lubembe for Ebru TV.
Now, moving on, Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua has challenged financial institutions to relax conditions for lending to Kenyans in order to enhance a faster economic growth.
Mutua says many entrepreneurs in the country are unable to access quick financial services from banks and other lenders, a factor he attributed to poor circulation of money and slowdown of the economic growth of the country.
All I can urge banks is let's do it chap-chap. You know, getting credit in this country is a process. And the process is basically human. It is not bank laws. Because you find that you fill the form, it goes to the bank, it sits there, there's a committee, the committee looks at it, it goes to the board, comes back. The processes are long, yes, maybe they are required, but they could all be constrained. Why don't you put those people in one room? Itoke hapa, iende hapa, itoke hapa, iende hapa, chap approved, inaenda. You know, banks never seem to approve anything quickly. Si ni ukweli? Hakuna kitu banki wana approve upesi. Unaambiwa it is still imeenda kwa committee, imeenda wapi na bado inaangaliwa 1 2 3 2 3 4 weeks bado unangojea. And I'm giving you a secret. The bank that will be able to approve access to credit, especially to SMEs, within 5 to 6 hours to 1 day will be the richest bank in Kenya. Kila mtu atahama hapo. So as the government and our governments cut bureaucracy, so banks also cut bureaucracy. You can go through all the stages, but in a faster manner. And this is self-inflicted wounds. This is bureaucracy, not from outside, but from within. Sisi wenyewe, we create the bureaucracy. So we have to agree as a country that bureaucracy is killing Kenya. And we have to cut down the bureaucracy so that businesses can be able to grow. It has now extended to the Central Bank of Kenya.
Right now, to our international front, a Chilean military plane with 38 people aboard lost radio communication Monday after taking off from the south of the country for a base in Antarctica. Chile's Air Force reported. Now, it is said 17 of those aboard were crew and the other 21 were passengers. Now, the dismayed President Sebastián Pinera, whose country has been witnessing its worst civil unrest in decades, said in a tweet that he would fly to Punta Arenas along with Interior Minister Gonzalo Blumel. Once there, they would meet up with Defense Minister Alberto Espina to monitor the search and rescue mission.
All right, from that very scary story, we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we'll have the latest in the world of business. Stick around for that.
Now, just a day after President Uhuru Kenyatta ascended to the chair of the Afro-Caribbean Summit, the president has reiterated the need for enhanced trade amongst members of the African, Pacific and the Caribbean states.
Speaking during the third day of the ACP conference in Nairobi, President Kenyatta said that there is need for member states to collaborate in line with the realization of global trade.
Under this declaration, we will strive to know each other, appreciate each other's strengths, and work together to support our individual as well as our collective aspirations. And I have no doubt that the proposals contained in the declaration align well with the ambitions found in the draft negotiation pact that the ACP group is negotiating with our principal partner, the European Union.
The president cited the need to promote multilateral trade system with leaders in line with safeguarding the World Trade Organization's promising commitment to prioritize agricultural industrialization, entrepreneurship, and the growth of micro, small, and medium enterprises.
All the leaders committed to redouble their efforts towards the integration of the ACP economies into the global value chains, supporting the growth of micro, small, and medium enterprises, especially those led and managed by our young people, our women, and persons living with disabilities.
It is a summit that saw 19 heads of state as well as government representatives from 70 out of 79 member states from across the 6 ACP regions. In the last 2 days, leaders from different countries agreed to come together in the achievement of promotion of trade and investments. Outgoing ACP Secretary General Patrick Gomen, also present, highlighted key outcomes that the member states will focus in the contribution to ACP cooperation, among them to guide the group's efforts towards strengthening ties and solidarity among member states. Another key outcome include a climate action across member states as well as involvement of youth and women in business promotion.
The first ever Women and Youth Forum and ACP Business Summit led to leaders calling for the establishment of an ACP Women and Youth Forum. This will be a platform to support all ACP states in their efforts to engage women and youth.
Georges Ribelo from Angola, who now takes over as Secretary General of ACP, acknowledged the coming together of member states, saying the summit will see a strong organization in the international arena.
As I begin my tenure as Secretary General of the ACP, I'm very sure that I'll be in good hands, but I also have to thank Dr. Patrick Gomez, whom I believe has left a very big and important heritage of the ACP countries.
Right, now moving on, a new global city survey has ranked Nairobi as the best African city to work in and the 45th globally, thanks to friendly residents and fair weather.
The same survey, on the flip side, quoted Kenya as one of the most expensive countries to live in.
The latest survey analyzed 5 areas of expatriate life: quality of urban towns, getting settled, work-life balance, finance, housing and cost of living, to reveal the likely of city of choice for expats to move into 2020. The survey that was carried out by Internations, the largest community for expats, noted that respondents had picked Nairobi for being easy to settle in, ranking it 3rd worldwide in the respective index, just behind Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia and Manama in Bahrain. In the Expert City Ranking 2019, Nairobi beat Johannesburg and Cape Town, both in South Africa, and both of which ranked in the lower half of the survey. Lagos in Nigeria was 79th among the bottom 10 cities in the global survey, whose findings were released this week. The city in the sun had been ranked 47th out of 72 cities in a similar survey carried out last year, meaning it has improved by 2 notches over that period. This year marks the first time Nairobi has improved in the Quality of Urban Living Index at position 72. The poor showing in the past has been attributed to poor local transportation and personal safety, as the city was ranked among the bottom 10 worldwide at 74th and personal safety 78th position respectively. However, the county was quoted as one of the most expensive to live in, with expatriates tying this to their well-being. In the ranking, Kenya's Personal Financial Satisfaction Index declined to 53 from 44 out of 64 destinations that were surveyed during the period. Winnie Lubembe for Ebru TV.
Some more news making business headlines, and a report released by the banking sector regulator dubbed Assessment of the Exchange Rate Misalignment in Kenya has shown that the average under-evaluation of the shilling between the year 2010 to 2017 outweighed the average overvaluation across 3 methodologies.
The study finds that the shilling was largely undervalued during most of the study period. Looking at the breakdown of the misalignment, it estimates and indicates that the average overvaluation over the period was generally similar across purchasing power parity, behavioral equilibrium exchange rate, and elasticities approach at 2.6%, 2.5%, and 2.5% respectively. The study further results shows that despite some variation in the magnitude of misalignment over time, this had declined and remained low in the period after 2013. The CBK report further stated that the misalignment averaged 3.4% in the study period, but declined from an average of 4.1% in the period 2010-2013 to 2.6% in 2014-2017, an indication that the country's real exchange rate has remained largely consistent with economic fundamentals. Contrary to the International Monetary Fund report released, the study by CBK disputes the results that indicated the local currency was overvalued by 17.5% and 30% respectively. IMF, on the other hand, accused CBK of hiding the true value of the shilling against the dollars and other currencies. The graph shows results of the shilling over the period 2009 to 2017. Despite some variations over the magnitude of misalignment, it is evident that the level of misalignment has consistently declined over time. Overall, misalignment of the Kenya shilling declined on an average from 4.1% in 2010-2013 to 2.6% in 2014 to 2017. A number of observations are made first over 2014 to 2017. The study by CBK tends to dispute earlier ones by the International Monetary Fund and Amana Capital that indicated that the local currency was overvalued by 17.5% and 30% respectively.
All right, time for us to get sporty with the world of sports.
All right, let's get sporty. The national women volleyball team, Malkia Strikers, have continued to intensify their preparations ahead of the upcoming Olympic qualifiers that are set for Cameroon in January.
Our reporter Benjamin Mwaka visited the team's training camp at the Kasarani Indoor Arena and has more on this story.
Malkia Strikers, who have been in a residential training camp since Wednesday last week, plans to stage massive upsets when they tussle for the sole slot reserved for Africa in the Olympics qualifiers, set for January 2nd to 10th in Cameroon.
We are also planning to have a different system so that in case they discover our system, then we have to change.
It was confirmed when we beat Cameroon in Morocco and we extended by beating them in Japan. So we think we're better than them, but we're not sleeping. We are still working on new strategies of how we can beat them.
Unajua sisi shida yetu inakuanga reception, meaning lazima tu work on that reception. So coaches wamechukua hiyo nini muda wao kutufanyisha sana reception and block so that tunaweza perfect hapo hivyo.
Before landing in Cameroon, plans are at an advanced stage to play at least 3 international friendlies in Europe in a bid to boost the exposure levels for the Kenyan Queens. The Cameroon outing has also attracted Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, Botswana, Rwanda and Mauritius.
As a team, we would really love to get some international exposure if possible, if funds are available, and if sponsors come in so that we can train out of our country to give us that more exposure, because that's what Cameroon now is doing.
I have negotiated with Bulgarian and Turkey to see that we can go there a few days before going to Cameroon. It's my hope and prayers that they will accept and to give us this chance.
Kama hatujapata hiyo opportunity ya kwenda nje, lazima tu tujue tuko hapa Kenya na lazima tu train hapa Kenya. And hiyo nini kwenda Olympics, kila mtu ako na hiyo roho ya kutaka kwenda.
The team's training camp is nearly full out after award-winning setter Jen Washu In the Kenya Pipelines, Esther Mutinda linked up with the team in today's training session, while Kenya Pipeline star Janet Wanja is yet to report to the camp. However, Bitok will be without me to block Lorraine Chebet, who is undergoing training at the Kenya Prisons Training College in Ruiru.
If we can do something with the young, we can have better resource and will not have problem of going to face Cameroon or Egypt, because Kenya have a unique talent, especially in the ladies.
The seasoned Africa champions insist that their preparations should remain top-notch for them to floor all their competitors in next year's qualifiers.
Malkia strikers will, however, rely heavily on the services of the experienced players to secure the all-important sole ticket as they aim to stamp full authority in the continent.
We had a foreign coach who was giving us some tips yesterday, which has really motivated the players. And the fact that we feel that we are better than Cameroon this time, we want to go with that confidence. Though we don't want to make it look like it's an overconfidence, but we want to go to Cameroon with confidence and hopefully get the single slot.
Benjamin Waka, Ebru TV, Sports.
Well, thank you, Benjamin Waka, for that comprehensive report. Defending champions Kenya have progressed to the semi-finals of the CECAFA Senior Challenge Cup after beating Sudan 2-1 in a Group B match at the StarTime Stadium in Kampala today.
Harambee Stars had come from behind to secure this victory after Mohamed Namir handed Sudan a lead at the half-hour mark. But Hassan Abdallah scored his second goal in as many games after 65 minutes, and then Ulinzi Stars forward Oscar Wamalwa sealed the lead with his first international goal on the stroke of full-time. Moving on, and the plan is in the offing to split the Women Premier League into two zones in the face-off in the financial challenges facing many clubs.
Now, last season saw several walkovers given out as teams struggled to raise money to honor their fixtures. Now, Vihiga Queens defended 2019-2020 title despite getting a strong challenge from Gaspo. According to FKF Vice President Doris Petra, the federation will offset the pledges they made to the clubs of granting them 700,000 shillings annually once funds are available. Well, this is where we wrap up Ebru Primetime News. Thank you so much for watching, of course, and always choosing Ebru Primetime News to keep you informed. Thank you to everybody who made this bulletin a success. My name is Rachel Mbugua. Do have yourselves a lovely night.
And my name is Kenneth. Kazungu, our sign language interpreter for tonight, has been the lovely Joyce Wairimo. See you soon, and God bless.